House voted today to get rid of an Obama-era regulation on the oil and gas industry that was aimed at limiting climate change caused by excessive methane emissions and also the intentional burning of methane. Lawmakers voted 221 to 191, so fairly close to roll back the Interior Department rule. 3 Democrats voted in favor, while 11 Republicans opposed repeal. So I guess that's actually a little bit of bipartisanship of a sort we don't normally get in D.C. these days. And so let's talk about what this policy was intended to do, or what the regulation was intended to do. Energy companies frequently do something called flaring, or burning off vast supplies of natural gas at drilling sites because it earns them less money than oil, and they're not set up to actually capture it and sell it. A government report said that about 40% of gas being flared or vented could be captured economically and sold rather than being burned, which just immediately releases the harmful emissions into the environment. Gas flaring is so prevalent in North Dakota, for one example, that nighttime flaring activity on drilling sites is visible in NASA photos from space. That's how much of it they do on a daily basis. I believe the amount burned, if sold, would total $400 million per year. So it's a lot of material being burned. So why is this happening? What's the pros and cons of getting rid of this regulation? Republicans argue that the rule is causing job losses in energy-dependent states across the West and is undercutting domestic energy production. Environmental groups, who are always so worried about the environment and people's health, oppose the rollback, saying the new rule will reduce, if it had happened, will reduce the risk of ozone formation in the air and ozone-related health problems, including asthma attacks, hospital admissions, and premature deaths. And as I said earlier, we also have the concerns about the climate, because methane emissions are about 25 times more per volume damaging to the environment than pure carbon emissions.
Look, if you don't think that elections matter, the chairman of the Natural Resources Committee in Congress is Rob Bishop from Utah, who loves getting rid of this, right? Who loves what they're doing with it, because he said it's better, and we had the quote, I read it earlier, but it's better, basically said it's better for people. And what's good for people is good for America, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of the intent of what he said as I read it. But you're the head of the Natural Resources Committee, right? This is about protecting not just people, but protecting people from ozone, not from their with ozone, not with money. And it's constant. So these elections do matter because you have a House of Representatives that gets to put committee chair people on based on who's in the majority, right? Yeah. And so you have somebody like Rob Bishop who's so irresponsible about this. They don't care about the environment, Natural Resources Committee. It's absurd. And that's why I always say that elections matter. We always do, because of little things that you don't realize. It's not about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. It's about electing a Congress that is responsible and cares more about the environment more than the opposition. I won't say 1,000%. I'm not saying that they're not looking, that the other side doesn't want people to be wealthy and do well for themselves.
Yeah, but 3 Democrats voted in favor of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I mean, so you have that, and it's, in some states it's hard for a Democrat to vote for it. You know, and that's just the way that our country is constructed, which is brings up a whole other conversation. Why I've changed my mind on the Electoral College, but. All those things are important, like pointing out that 3 Democrats voted for it and why they had to and why it's important for them. But fortunately, there are Democrats who think that it's ludicrous, irresponsible, and absolutely dangerous, and those voices are being heard too.
Yeah, and this is depressing. This is one of the environment-focused regulations that Obama pushed for. I believe this one. Was it this or the stream? It's actually Tom Perez, but anyway, small little note. But anyway, that I was really excited for, but it looks like it's probably going to go away. Now, it's not totally done now. The House voted on it, but they're coming at the environment from multiple directions. The House was taking care of the methane problem that we had in our country, while the Senate was aiming for your streams. Not the streams of the sort that you see in hotels after Donald Trump has been in there. I'm talking about streams across America. On Thursday, the Senate voted 54 to 45 to repeal the stream protection rule. Coal companies will now have a freer hand at dumping mining debris in streams. It was purely designed to stop these mining companies from just wholesale dumping industrial mining waste into the waterways of America, protecting thousands of miles of streams and rivers. Well, that is now gone, well, at least on the Senate side. We'll see. Maybe the House will stop them. Maybe Donald Trump will stop them. Maybe they'll stop the waterways from being polluted, but probably not.
But it's like they like Flint, right? It's like, hey, Flint's working out great, so let's just do Flint everywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, the stuff flows like we don't know. I mean, people are going to start having health problems, and then we'll get to have a fun little national experiment that we have right now with fracking, where people say, "I'm sick. Okay, I have these terrible health problems. Look at my water. My water's flammable." They show all of this overwhelming evidence of the negative effect that these energy production techniques are having on their health. But even with all that evidence, we can't rein in fracking. Now you're going to have stuff being dumped even more so into waterways. And so when people start getting sick, some of them will probably be Democrats, a lot of them will be conservatives in some parts of the country, and then they'll start presenting their medical problems. And will anyone listen to them? Will anyone care? But no, and people won't even know that you could trace it back to the first couple of weeks of Donald Trump's administration when the Senate and the House felt incredibly emboldened to destroy our environment, to give handouts effectively to a couple of oil and gas and coal mining companies across the country.
If you like this Young Turks video, wait till you get a load of Young Turks membership. So many more shows and no ads at all. Come and see tytnetwork.com/join.